Paris Saint-Germain are heading into a major European match with their coach already lowering expectations. Luis Enrique says his squad simply hasn't had enough preparation time before Wednesday's UEFA Super Cup. The French champions will face Aston Villa in Salzburg for the trophy. The PSG coach has made it clear he's frustrated with the situation. He's warning fans not to expect a top-level performance from his team in the match. The Super Cup traditionally pits the winners of the Champions League against the Europa League champions at the start of the European season. Complete Sports NG reported this. Months of xenophobic protests in South Africa have left deep scars on Nigerians who lived there. Now back home, returnees are trying to rebuild their lives and forget the trauma they experienced. The violence has done more than hurt individuals. Diplomatic ties between the two countries have been badly damaged. South Africa and Nigeria are both major powers on the continent, which makes the breakdown in relations significant. The returnees face the challenge of starting over after losing homes and livelihoods to the unrest. France 24 Africa reported this. A candlelight vigil has been held in Pakistan's capital to remember climbers who died in a mountain disaster. 10 people were killed in an avalanche on Broad Peak, one of the world's highest mountains. Mountaineers gathered in Islamabad alongside diplomats and members of civil society to honor those who lost their lives. Rescuers have been describing the difficult conditions they faced trying to bring the climbers down from the mountain. Broad Peak stands in the Karakoram Range in northern Pakistan, an area that attracts climbers from around the world attempting some of the most challenging peaks on Earth. ABC News reported this. South Carolina is holding a special primary election today. Voters are choosing a Republican candidate for the Senate. The election is needed to replace Senator Lindsey Graham, who died. Graham had been South Carolina's Republican senator. Multiple candidates are competing for the nomination. One of them is the late senator's sister, Darlene Graham. The winner of today's primary will become the Republican nominee on the November ballot. That person will then face voters in the general election to fill Graham's Senate seat. The Hill reported this. The race for the 2026 midterm elections is heating up. 6 states are holding primary contests today as voters begin choosing candidates who will compete in next year's congressional races. CBS News program The Takeout with Major Garrett is covering the voting as results come in. The show is also reporting new information about former President Trump's travel arrangements. Details have emerged about a previously undisclosed switch between aircraft. The program airs tonight at 8 Eastern Time. CBS News reported this.
More than 100 people are dead in western Colombia after an earthquake collapsed buildings in Cali and Pereira.
In Mexico, Cuban men have been charged with smuggling people to the United States.
A group of Cuban men has been charged with smuggling people from Mexico into the United States. The men were operating in Quintana, the Mexican state that includes Cancun and the Caribbean coast. Prosecutors say one of the leaders of the group claimed that Raúl Castro's grandson helped with the operation. Raúl Castro is the former president of Cuba. The allegations come from interviews and court records. The case highlights how smuggling networks move people through Mexico toward the American border, and it raises questions about possible connections between these criminal operations and prominent Cuban families. NYT World reported this. A powerful earthquake has killed more than 100 people in western Colombia. The quake measured 7.4 in magnitude. It collapsed buildings and caused severe damage in several major cities. The cities of Cali and Pereira were among those hit. The earthquake struck the western part of the country. Guardian World reported this. FIFA is facing pressure over the future of its president Gianni Infantino. Donald Trump has warned the football body it would be making a terrible mistake if it removed Infantino from his position. Trump's comments come after weeks of silence from the former US president. He's considered a close ally of the FIFA chief. The intervention follows Infantino's failed bid to secure hosting rights for the World Cup. Trump's statement marks his first public defense of Infantino since that unsuccessful campaign ended. ABC Australia reported this. On this day in space history, NASA achieved a milestone in global communications. It was August 12, 1960. The space agency launched a giant balloon into orbit. The balloon was 100 feet across and it was called Echo 1A. It became NASA's first successful communications satellite. The spacecraft was what's known as passive. That means it simply reflected signals rather than actively transmitting them. Echo 1 bounced telephone calls, radio broadcasts and television signals between distant points on Earth. It proved that satellites could connect people across vast distances, paving the way for the global communications network we rely on today. Times of India reported this. Artificial intelligence used to design brand new viruses. Scientists made 16 successful viruses that had their genetic code designed by artificial intelligence. BBC Health reported this.